Let's talk about something that is, I think, one of the most frustrating things we all go through. It's that huge, giant gap between knowing exactly what you should be doing and, well, actually doing it. Today, we're going to figure out why that gap even exists and, way more importantly, how you can finally cross it.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You've got the plan all laid out. You've read the books, maybe you've even watched a bunch of videos just like this one. You know exactly what the next step is. But when it's actually time to do the thing, you just don't. You're stuck. Maybe you're hesitating or scrolling on your phone, or hey, all of a sudden, organizing the spice rack seems like the most important task in the world. Look, if that's you, you are so not alone. And the reason why might really surprise you.
You know, this quote from Scott H. Young just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Because let's be real, fantasizing about success, imagining yourself crossing that finish line, it feels amazing. It's pure fun. But the actual work, the messy day-to-day stuff, that's usually pretty uncomfortable and, honestly, a lot less exciting. And that huge difference in feeling, well, that's where our problem really begins.
Okay, so let's get into it. Why is it so ridiculously hard to just do the thing? You might be telling yourself, oh, I just need more discipline, or maybe there's some new productivity hack I haven't tried. But the truth, it goes so much deeper than that. It's actually baked into the very wiring of your brain. So let's peel back the curtain and find out what's really going on in there.
Yeah, you heard that right. The problem is not that you lack discipline. It has nothing to do with some kind of character flaw. It's literally your brain's survival instinct kicking in. Think of it like this. It's a feature, not a bug, in your own personal operating system. So you're not lazy. You're actually being protected. The big question is, protected from what?
Okay, this is absolutely crucial to understand. Your brain's #1 job, it isn't to make you happy. It's not even to make you successful. Its primary directive is just to keep you alive. And from a survival perspective, anything new, anything like starting a business or even just going to the gym for the first time, that's all classified as the unknown. And your deep subconscious brain is programmed to see the unknown as a potential threat, a danger.
And this, right here, this is the big aha moment. We're so quick to beat ourselves up, right? We call ourselves lazy, we say we have no motivation, but what's really happening behind the scenes is that our subconscious is running this ancient safety program. It's trying to shield us from things it sees as dangerous, like discomfort or criticism, or the big one, failure. So that voice in your head that sounds a lot like, I'm just too lazy, it's really your brain whispering, hey, let's just stay right here, it's safe here.
So what does all this protection look like in real life? Well, it creates this kind of invisible leash, and that leash has a name: fear. It's what keeps us tied to our comfort zone, stuck right where we are. And the craziest part is, a lot of the time, we don't even realize we're afraid. So here's a simple rule of thumb. If you want to do something, but you just can't make yourself do it, the very first question you have to ask is, what am I really afraid of here?
And look, fear is sneaky. It doesn't always show up looking like a scary monster. Oh no, it's much cleverer than that. It wears disguises. You might tell yourself, oh, I'm just a perfectionist. But really? Perfectionism is just fear of criticism wearing a fancy costume. Or how about, I just need to do a little more research. That's usually fear of actually starting. These aren't just your personality quirks, okay? They are super sophisticated delay tactics that your brain cooks up to keep you safe from taking action. But wait, fear isn't the only leash holding you in place. There's another one, and this one is way more subtle. It's your current identity. It's the story you constantly tell yourself about the kind of person you are.
Think about it. Your brain loves to be right. It gets a little kick out of it. So if you have this deep down belief that says, I'm just not a healthy person, your brain will literally sabotage you when you try to go to the gym. It'll do anything to prove that old story right. Why? Because becoming someone new, a healthy person, is a huge step into the unknown. And what does the unknown do? It trips that same old survival alarm all over again.
All right, so now we get it. Our brains are hardwired for safety and for staying the same. That's the why behind the struggle. So now, let's get into the good stuff, the how. How do we actually outsmart these ancient brain circuits? Here are a few simple tricks you can use to just get started.
So Scott H. Young basically says, stop trying to force it with willpower. It's a losing battle. Instead, just make the action more enjoyable. Here are 3 ways to do that. First, modify it. If you hate running, don't run. Find a sport you actually think is fun. Can't stand working in silence? Throw on your favorite playlist. Second, reward yourself. Simple, right? After you finish that hour of deep work, give yourself a little treat. You're basically training your brain to link the hard thing with something good. And third, associate it.
Link the task to something you already feel good about, like say only letting yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're cleaning the house. Okay, this next one is a total game changer. It's called the 5-minute rule. We all know the hardest part of any task is just getting started, right? So you're going to trick your brain. You just tell yourself, I'm only going to do this for 5 minutes. That's it. Anyone can do pretty much anything for just 5 minutes. What this does is it completely lowers your brain's threat alarm. And what almost always happens? Once you're moving, momentum kicks in and you just keep going. And that leads to this huge idea. You have to make the right action as easy, as frictionless as possible. It's all about designing your environment to help you win. So if you want to go to the gym in the morning, lay out your clothes the night before. You've just removed a point of friction. Want to stop scrolling on your phone? Put it in another room. You've just added friction to that bad habit. It's really that simple. Make the good stuff easy and the bad stuff hard. Okay, those tricks are awesome for getting the ball rolling. But if we're talking about real, lasting change, we've got to go a little deeper. We need to start rewiring the actual mindset that's been holding us back.
This might be the single most important mindset shift you can make. See, our brains are obsessed with the cost of action. We think about the effort, the discomfort, the risk of falling flat on our face. But we almost never stop to calculate the absolutely devastating long-term cost of inaction. We're talking about regret, stagnation, losing faith in yourself, staying stuck in a job that just crushes your soul. I promise you, when you really look at it, the cost of staying put is always, always high.
So I want you to actually pause and ask yourself this question. And don't just think about next week. Think about 10 years from now. What is the true, honest-to-goodness cost if you don't take action? What will you have missed out on? What will your life look like? Getting really clear on that can completely change the game for you.
And this loops right back around to that whole identity thing. Here's the secret. If you wait until you feel like a confident person to act confident, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. It's the other way around. You act first. You take one small, maybe even scary action, then another, and another. And over time, you're building up this pile of evidence, and your identity has no choice but to shift to match your actions. You become that person by doing the things that person does.
But okay, what if you've tried all these things and it still feels like you're pushing a giant boulder up a hill? Well, maybe it's time to ask a tough question. Is the problem the action, or is it the goal itself? If what you're chasing doesn't actually light you up, if you're just doing it because you feel like you should, then no amount of life hacks is going to fix that. You know, sometimes the bravest possible action you can take is to admit that and choose a completely different goal.
Okay, we have covered a lot. The why, the how. But here's the thing, information without action is totally useless. So let's talk about what really matters now, your very next step. How we go from just watching this to actually doing something.
Let's just bust one final myth right here, right now. We all have this idea that we need to wait for motivation to strike us like a lightning bolt before we can start. That's completely backwards. Motivation isn't the cause of action, it's the result. It's the reward your brain gives you after you've already started moving. Action creates momentum, and it's the momentum that fuels your motivation to keep going.
So, what does that mean for you? It means you have to forget about being perfect. Forget about getting it right on the first try. The goal is not a flawless start. The goal is just to start. I want you to give yourself permission to start ugly. Be okay with it being messy. Be okay with that first draft or that first workout being clumsy and imperfect. It's supposed to.
I mean, look at it this way. A perfect plan that just sits in your notebook is worth absolutely zero. But an ugly, messy, imperfect start, that is infinitely more valuable. Why? Because it's real. It means you've broken through that initial resistance. You are officially in the game.
And that really brings us to the end here. So I'm going to leave you with this one simple question. Don't think about the entire mountain you have to climb. Just look down at your feet. What is the single, smallest, most imperfect, maybe even ridiculously tiny step you can take right now in the next 5 minutes to just move forward? Figure that out and then go do it.